You're listening to CAC Radio, Eastern Kentucky's best internet radio station.
Do you have a home church? Are you looking for a place that you can bring your family and receive love and encouragement? Then welcome to Cornerstone Apostolic Church, where you'll find a safe place for you and your family, a place where praise and worship is encouraged and the preaching and teaching of God's Word is anointed and fulfilling. No matter where you are on your journey in life or your journey with the Lord, you'll find what you're looking for at Cornerstone Apostolic Church.
On behalf of Pastor McKinney and the congregation of Cornerstone Apostolic Church, we would like to invite you and your family to come and visit with us. We feel that you will enjoy the Spirit-filled atmosphere as we worship the Lord together in spirit and in truth. We have Sunday school classes for all ages, Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. and 11 a.m., and Wednesday evening service at 7 p.m. The adults meet in the main sanctuary, while the youth meet in the CAC Youth Sanctuary. You can also catch our services live by going to cornerstoneapostolic.org and click on the live webcast link during our regular and special scheduled services. If you missed a service, you can still watch that service in its entirety by going to cornerstoneapostolic.org and click on the video archives link. Come on out to Cornerstone Apostolic Church and experience the power of Pentecost. We hope to see you in future services.
Welcome to a little bit of church every day. Home Bible Study 21st Century Style. CAC Daily iCast is aired Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Simply go to cornerstoneapostolic.org and click on the live webcast link.
You can join us for our radio broadcast Sundays at 9:30 a.m. on WQHY-FM 95.5 out of Prestonsburg, Kentucky. You can also go to Q95FM.net, whether you live on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. That's Q95FM.net. You can also catch the television broadcast Sundays at 10 a.m. on the Tri-State CW, that's WQCW-TV, and you can watch us Sundays at 2 and 2:30 p.m. on Mountaintop Media TV. And if you don't get those cable channels or satellite service, you can still watch us Sundays at 2 and 2:30 simply by going to mountaintopmedia.com.
You can follow CAC Daily iCast on Facebook at CAC Daily. Follow our Phelps campus at CAC Phelps I, our Pikeville campus at Pikeville Apostolic, and Pastor McKinney at Pastor RDM. We're also on Twitter at CAC Daily iCast, the Phelps campus at CAC Phelps, the Pikeville campus at Pike UPC, and you can connect with Pastor McKinney at Pastor RDM. You can call in and leave your prayer requests and praise reports at 606-282-4108 or email those prayer requests and praise reports to cacdaily@cacphelps.org or cacdaily@cornerstoneapostolic.org. Let's now join Pastor McKinney as he takes us through another study in the Word.
Praise the Lord, everybody. Welcome to a Monday broadcast. That's right, it is Monday, June the 23rd. And we also would like to remind you that you can start receiving texts and updates. We use this app on Friday, so if you're not receiving our texts and updates, you need to get your phone out right now and download Signal, SIGNAL, and set up your account. I don't have anything to do with that. I don't see your information, but you set it up and you can, decide you don't want the app anymore. You can just delete it from off your phone and nobody has your stuff. So Signal, SIGNAL, you download that and then you open up the camera after you set your account up and you scan that blue QR code right there. And once you scan that blue QR code, then you're going to be able to send me a little message, and it'll be an automatic message that will be something that I'll see, and I'm looking right now to see if anybody else over the weekend has sent me a request, because we want everyone to be a part of this. So we have several already on this app, so if you would like to be a part of In the Know, then just follow the information on the screen, and you too can start receiving text and updates from this broadcast. Well, it is a beautiful day in the neighborhood. The sun is shining. Perry Mason's just hanging out with me. He's kind of napping. He is up all night. And so he's kind of just laying here and taking it easy. And looks like that my I guess my weather graphic. I've got one computer that's not talking to the other computer, so it's mad at it this morning. But they're mad at each other, and so we'll just give you the weather straight through. The only bad part about that is I have my ability to draw and point arrows on our Bible study is on the computer that's not talking to the other. And let's see if I can find the weather here and give us a little update. It's going to be another hot one. It's already 81 degrees. Going to be a high of somewhere around 93 degrees. Yeah, I know. And then tomorrow's going to be a high of 96. That's right. So you might as well just get ready for a little bit of hot weather, humid weather. In fact, the temperature being currently 81 degrees, east-northeast wind at 1 mile per hour, maximum wind gusts at 2 miles per hour, and humidity is 83%. That's air you can wear. And looks like that the air quality's fair at 39. And if you're sneezing, the reason for the sneezing and wheezing, well, tree pollen is low and ragweed is low, but mold is moderate. Grass pollen's low, but the old duo dust and dander, no, they're not low, they're not moderate, they're extreme. I know. The old duo dust and dander, they're into it again. So they're the reason for the wheezing and the sneezing. The old duo dust and dander. And so that's kind of what's going on with our weather. And there is a heat advisory out. So if you, from 11 a.m. today until tomorrow night at 8 p.m. So yeah, it's going all the way through today and through tomorrow. Heat advisory remains in effect from 11 a.m. Monday to 8 p.m. on Tuesday, and the heat index values are expected to peak between 100 and 105 each day. And this is in Elliott, Johnson, Martin, Floyd, and Pike counties. We're located in Pike, P-I-K-E, Pike County. And so that's from 11 a.m. today until 8 p.m. Tuesday. Hot temperatures, high humidity can cause heat illnesses. My wife was just sitting out just for a little while yesterday when we got home from church, and she started getting nauseated where she got so hot, and she was just sitting there. Nothing, no exertion or anything. So you don't have to be like saying, I'm going outside to work. You just need to make sure that you drink plenty of fluids, stay in an air-conditioned room if you can, and stay out of the sun and check up on relatives and neighbors. So, yeah, kind of severe times out right now. Well, I guess everyone's heard by now or seen by now that the U.S. helped in the bombing of the nuclear sites in Iran. And now Iran is vowing a cyber attack upon some of our facilities, our electrical grids online. So that means that they can attack it. There's all sorts of banking online. There's just all sorts of things that they could mess with. So they're kind of waiting and watching to see what's going to happen with the retaliation. And so everybody's kind of bracing for it because they know it's coming. They just don't know when and what. but they are bracing for retaliation. Well, it had to be done, and needed to be done, and had to be done because if Iran had got a nuclear capability of weapons, then Israel would not ever be safe, and even the U.S. would not be safe. So they had to stop it from having a nuclear weapon, and that's what all it was about. The B-2 bombers, they flew from Missouri nonstop to Iran, let go of their, I think it was 6 bunker-busting bombs, and they said at first that it obliterated everything, and now they don't know. They've slowed up the capability. They've stopped the one place that could spin it into enriched uranium into weapon grade, but they don't know where the weapon grade, uranium is. So they think they loaded. They said you could take about a few cars and put it in the trunk of it and take it somewhere. So there was trucks seen at the scene before the bombing, and I'm sure they're following where those trucks went and all that. So we'll see as the days come and as things get farther down the road of what is going to happen, and just need to be in much prayer, right? We need to be in much prayer for our president and all of our military leaders and military personnel, and hopefully have a unified country instead of having all the divisive rhetoric that we heard over the weekend. I don't know why people can't get behind the president. They hate him so much they just can't get behind him when he does something good. And he's not the first president ever sent soldiers somewhere or attacked a country somewhere without Congress. He's not the first. We're not entering into a war. We are simply taking and helping an ally, and so it's no different than when we was in Afghanistan, or we was in Grenada for a while, and just different things. This is not Vietnam, and this is not World War I and II, and so people just need to chill out and read their history book, know their Constitution. But anyway, everybody's got to have their say, right? Well, let's see what we got. We had a good time at the community center Saturday. It was hot, and I was flying my drone for them, taking footage, and my iPhone kept overheating. You know how you'll get a message sometimes when your iPhone is on your dash or in your car, you left it out in the sun, and it says iPhone needs to cool down. Well, that's what mine did about 3 times while I was trying to film. So that's how hot it was outside. But, that's just all part of it. And so we'll try to get some footage some other time. And let's see what else we got with our announcements. We want to remind everyone that not only did we have a good time at the community center on Saturday, we had a great time Saturday night as we gathered together and we sung, we worshiped, we testified. Always good to hear of testimonies of people that, God has done something great for. And so we had a good time and hope that it was a blessing to you. If you didn't get to attend, we'll make plans next time, because we do have some things that are coming up that we want to remind you of. July the 7th is a men's meeting, and it's going to be at the Christian Community Center, and that begins at 6 o'clock. And then we got our 28th anniversary service That's right. We got our 28th anniversary service coming up, and we're excited about that as we celebrate 28 years the Lord has blessed us to be a church. And that will be July the 13th at 11 a.m. Brother Michael Pullins is going to be with us. Also, we'd like to let you know our next praise and worship service is going to be Saturday, July the 19th, and that is at 7 p.m. We're going to have a special guest on the 27th of July. It's going to be Brother Michael Anderson is going to be with us. And also, we have a Section 3 rally coming up. That'll be in August the 8th at 7 p.m. at Cornerstone Apostolic Church. And we're having a kids' revival coming up. That is going to be with the Merrimans. And that is going to be August 26th through the 28th. Tuesday through Thursday, each night beginning at 7 p.m. Also, we'll be having our Pikeville Apostolic Church 13th anniversary celebration. That'll be Sunday, September the 14th at 2 p.m. And we'll celebrate 13 years of being a church in Pikeville and 5 years of me being the overseer or pastor of it. So, looking forward to that. And then, of course, we got other things coming up in October and November at CAC. But we want you to be a part of any and all of these things going on at CAC. Well, it's going to be a hot one today, so stay in, stay cool, stay hydrated, because we are going to be having some dangerous weather heat-wise for the next 24 hours, maybe the next, even more than that, because it's going from 11 o'clock today to 8 o'clock tomorrow night here in East Kentucky. Well, we got some folks that have a birthday today, and we want to wish happy birthday to my nephew, Robbie Blankenship. Happy birthday, Robbie. Dan Kinder, happy birthday, Dan. Jeffrey Tackett, happy birthday, Jeffrey. And Ashley Brumfield, happy birthday, Ashley. And Dan Kinder, happy birthday, Dan. And Brooke Noel, happy birthday, Brooke. And Caroline Smith, who has a twin, Ruby Smith. Both of them are 64 years old today. And I just saw where I didn't put something down there, and I'm going to add Ruby's name to that. So I'll just put Caroline in here. And then I'm going to do the same thing with Ruby Smith, because they're twins. They grew up here in Phelps, and some of the best cooks. They have worked in the restaurant business and catering business all their life. Some of the best cooks you'll ever have in a restaurant and catering service. So if you need a catering service, call Caroline. If you need something, cooked at the restaurant here locally, you can get a hold of Ruby. So happy birthday to Caroline and Ruby Smith as you celebrate your birthday today.
Ecclesiastes 8. Who is like the wise, and who knows the interpretation of a thing? A man's wisdom makes his face shine, and the hardness of his face is changed.
I say, keep the king's command, because of God's oath to him. Be not hasty to go from his presence. Do not take your stand in an evil cause, for he does whatever he pleases. For the word of the king is supreme, and who may say to him, "What are you doing?" Whoever keeps a command will know no evil thing, and the wise heart will know the proper time and the just way. For there is a time and a way for everything, although man's trouble lies heavy on him. For he does not know what is to be, for who can tell him how it will be? No man has power to retain the spirit, or power over the day of death. There is no discharge from war, nor will wickedness deliver those who are given to it. All this I observed, while applying my heart to all that is done under the sun, when man had power over man to his hurt. Then I saw the wicked buried. They used to go in and out of the holy place, and were praised in the city where they had done such things. This also is vanity. Because the sentence against an evil deed is not executed speedily, the heart of the children of man is fully set to do evil. Though a sinner does evil 100 times and prolongs his life, yet I know that it will be well with those who fear God, because they fear before him. But it will not be well with the wicked, neither will he prolong his days like a shadow, because he does not fear before God. There is a vanity that takes place on earth, that there are righteous people to whom it happens according to the deeds of the wicked, and there are wicked people to whom it happens according to the deeds of the righteous. I said that this also is vanity. And I commend joy, for man has no good thing under the sun but to eat and drink and be joyful. For this will go with him in his toil through the days of his life that God has given him under the sun. When I applied my heart to know wisdom, and to see the business that is done on earth, how neither day nor night do one's eyes see sleep, then I saw all the work of God, that man cannot find out the work that is done under the sun. However much man may toil in seeking, he will not find it out. Even though a wise man claims to know, he cannot find it out.
Ecclesiastes 9.
But all this I laid to heart, examining it all, how the righteous and the wise and their deeds are in the hand of God. Whether it is love or hate, man does not know. Both are before him. It is the same for all, since the same event happens to the righteous and the wicked, to the good and the evil, to the clean and the unclean, to him who sacrifices and him who does not sacrifice. As the good one is, so is the sinner, and he who swears is as he who shuns an oath. This is an evil in all that is done under the sun, that the same event happens to all. Also the hearts of the children of man are full of evil, and madness is in their hearts, while they live, and after that they go to the dead. But he who is joined with all the living has hope, for a living dog is better than a dead lion. For the living know that they will die, but the dead know nothing, and they have no more reward, for the memory of them is forgotten. Their love and their hate and their envy have already perished, and forever they have no more share in all that is done under the sun. Go, eat your bread with joy, and drink your wine with a merry heart, for God has already approved what you do. Let your garments be always white, let not oil be lacking on your head. Enjoy life with a wife whom you love all the days of your vain life that he has given you under the sun, because that is your portion in life, and in your toil at which you toil under the sun. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with your might, for there is no work or thought or knowledge or wisdom in Sheol, to which you are going. Again I saw that under the sun the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor bread to the wise, nor riches to the intelligent, nor favor to those with knowledge, but time and chance happen to them all. For man does not know his time, like fish that are taken in an evil net, and like birds that are caught in a snare. So the children of man are snared at an evil time, when it suddenly falls upon them. I have also seen this example of wisdom under the sun, and it seemed great to me. There was a little city with few men in it, and a great king came against it and besieged it, building great siege works against it. But there was found in it a poor wise man, and he by his wisdom delivered the city. Yet no one remembered that poor man. But I say that wisdom is better than might, though the poor man's wisdom is despised and his words are not heard.
The words of the wise heard in quiet are better than the shouting of a ruler among fools. Wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroys much good.
And we just read through Ecclesiastes chapter 8 and chapter 9, trying to read our way through the Old Testament. And once we get through the Old Testament, we will loop or continue on into the New Testament. Well, let's do this.
It's time for the pastor's blessing jar.
It is time for the Jar of Blessing. The Jar of Blessing is brought to you by Pikeville Apostolic Church. That's right. And it's Pastor's Blessing Jar. When you need a pick-me-up, well, pick me up. And this is a great gift to give someone. So you handwrite the scriptures. You cut them out and fold them up, put them in a jar, and then just tie a little bow around it. And there you got the perfect gift for someone to have a little pick-me-up every day. Well, let's see what today's revealing from the Jar of Blessing is. It's a scripture found in Romans chapter 5 and verse number 19. For as by one man's disobedience many were made sinners, so by the obedience of one shall many be made righteous. Romans 5 and 19. O Adam, his disobedience made all of us sinners. And then through the obedience of the second man, Adam, which is Jesus Christ, we are all, and I want to get that last little word, we, because of the obedience of one, shall many be made righteous. Not all, but many. So there you go. That's from the Jar of Blessing. It is a blessing to dig down into that jar and find out some inspirational thought that maybe we can think about today. And so that was the thought for today, and that was Romans chapter 5, verse number 19. So you can be inspired by that. Well, let's see what else we got. We got 60 seconds with the pastor. This is just a little bit of a 1-minute segment that we like to do. We recorded these several years ago, and we haven't recorded some in a while, but we need to, because we're looping back over and going back through those that we have been using for some time. But we want to go to, this would be something that was recorded back in July of 2021. So here we go with 60 seconds with the pastor. Hope it's a blessing to you.
Praise the Lord, everybody. I'm Pastor Richard D. McKinney, and welcome to 60 Seconds with the Pastor. 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 15 and 16 says, I beseech you, brethren, ye know the house of Stephanas, that it is the firstfruits of Achaia, and that they have addicted themselves to the ministry of the saints, that ye submit yourselves unto such, and to every one that helpeth with us and laboreth. The church in Achaia addicted themselves to the ministry of the saints, and then Paul instructs us to submit ourselves to those like the saints in Achaia. Addiction is a powerful thing. In the world, if you hang out with people who are addicted to alcohol or drugs, you are more likely to become addicted to those things yourself. And if you hang out with people in the church who are addicted to the work of the Lord, you are more likely to become addicted to those things. Are you addicted?
What time is it? It's time. What time is it? What time is it? I'll tell you what time it is. It's time for another CAC Trivia Question of the Day. CAC Trivia Question of the Day is brought to you by Cornerstone Apostolic Church and the Apostolic Voice of Phelps radio and television broadcast. The radio broadcast is heard every Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. on WQHY FM 95.5 out of Prestonsburg, Kentucky. You can also go to Q95FM.net and click on the List Live link Sunday mornings at 9:30 a.m., whether you live on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. That's Q95FM.net. You can also watch the Apostolic Voice of Phelps television broadcast Sundays at 10 a.m. on the Tri-State CW. That's WQCW TV. And you can also watch us Sundays at 2 and 2:30 p.m. on Mountaintop Media TV. And if you don't get those cable channels or satellite service, you can still watch us Sundays at 2 and 2:30 simply by going to mountaintopmedia.com. We're also on Roku TV. That's right. If you own a Roku Smart TV or you have a Roku account, you can search for channel code, the Apostolic Voice of Phelps, and you can watch us on Roku. Well, let's see what today's trivia question is. And here we go with, let me get my sound machine up here. Got to have a drum roll. Yeah, we got to have a drum roll. And today's trivia question is, which book spends all of its chapters prophesying against Nineveh? Which book spends all of its chapters prophesying against Nineveh? All you got to do is go to the Facebook page of CAC Daily. Click on the link. It will take you where you need to go, and we'll have the results on tomorrow's broadcast. And speaking of results, we have our results of Thursday's broadcast, because we didn't have one Friday, which we will talk about here in just a moment. But let's look and see what Thursday's broadcast was. In what city does Zacchaeus live? Well, out of those that participated, looks like 80% of you got it correct with the correct answer, Jericho. So thank you for participating in Thursday's trivia question. And this is a great time for me just to bring up to you, if you're not getting text and updates, just get your phone out right now. Go to the App Store if you have an iPhone, Google Play if you have any other type phone, and download Signal, Signal. And you download that and set up your account. And once you set your account up, then you scan, just open your camera and scan that little blue QR code right there. And then as soon as you scan it, and I'll kind of show you what it looks like when you scan it, because I'll bring my camera up and just scan the screen that I'm on. And then you can see right here that little yellow signal. You click on that little yellow that just went away, and it will send a notice to me that you want to join. And very simple. Just set up your Signal account. I have no control over that. You can set it up. You can delete it. You can start it, stop it, whatever you want to do. And then you just open your camera and hold it up to the screen, and you see that little blue, that little yellow rather, signal that just went away. You click on that when it shows up, and then I will receive a notice letting me know that you want to be a part of all that's getting the updates. And we have several already joined, so guess what? On Friday, they got the notice. They wasn't sitting there in front of their computers and laptop and phones and tablets and wondering, why isn't the broadcast on? Well, because they was in the know. So you can be in the know too. Just get your phone out and begin to set up your account right now. Well, if we get over 200 episodes in this year, by the time we get to the end of the year, we'll be celebrating our 12th anniversary service here at CAC Daily iCast, and we will have broadcast over 2,500 episodes. So yeah, that's a lot of episodes, and we're currently on episode number 100. And this is day 174 of 365 and that 1/4 day. So we got to get 100 more episodes in. And you might say, oh, that's easy. We still got 100 and some days left. But you know what? I got vacation coming up. I've got holidays coming up. All sorts of other stuff that sometimes just pops up out of nowhere and hinders us from having a broadcast. So yeah, we missed it by just a few last year, but we're going to try our best to get it this year. Well, we got one more little thing that we need to do, and then we'll jump into our teaching session. We want you to stick around for the teaching session because we always have a great time with the teaching session. This is the Commonwealth Minute. It's brought to you by Richard Nelson and the Commonwealth Policy Center, and he is in charge of that, and he asked me if I would do this and air his 60-second segments on the broadcast. So here we go with the Commonwealth Minute.
Welcome to the Commonwealth Minute. Here's your host, Richard Nelson.
Last week's ruling by the U.S. Supreme Court upholds state laws that protect minors from gender transition procedures. The case is called U.S. v. Scrimeti, which challenged a Tennessee law banning high doses of hormones and surgical disfigurement of minors. The ruling is important for Kentucky since the state legislature enacted a similar law protecting children from these dangerous medical interventions. Kentucky's Senate Bill 150 passed in 2023. It also bans Kentucky's public schools from pushing gender ideology in the classroom, and also requires bathrooms and locker rooms to align with the biological sex of students. The ruling is significant pushback against transgender madness that is hurting our children.
Find us on Facebook and Twitter at CPC4Kentucky and on the web at CommonwealthPolicyCenter.org.
And that was the Commonwealth Minute. Well, it is time for us to take our little break, and the reason we take a break, we got to clear up the lag so that we can record our teaching sessions. Put them on the archives. People can watch them on their own time frame. So my advice to you, don't touch that any key. That's right. Don't touch that any key because we'll be right back. My mouse is not wanting to work good today. I'm going to have to work on it here just a little bit. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome to A Little Bit of Church Every Day, Home Bible Study 21st Century Style. CAC Daily iCast is aired Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Simply go to cornerstoneapostolic.org and click on the live webcast link.
You can join us for our radio broadcast Sundays at 9:30 a.m. on WQHY FM 95.5 out of Prestonsburg, Kentucky. You can also go to Q95fm.net, whether you live on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. That's Q95fm.net. You can also catch the television broadcast Sundays at 10 a.m. on the Tri-State CW, that's WQCW-TV, and you can watch us Sundays at 2 and 2:30 p.m. on Mountaintop Media TV. And if you don't get those cable channels or satellite service, you can still watch us Sundays at 2 and 2:30 simply by going to mountaintopmedia.com.
You can follow CAC Daily iCast on Facebook at CAC Daily. Follow our Phelps campus at CAC Phelps I. our Pikeville campus at Pikeville Apostolic, and Pastor McKinney at Pastor RDM. We're also on Twitter at CAC Daily iCast, the Phelps campus at CAC Phelps, the Pikeville campus at Pike UPC, and you can connect with Pastor McKinney at Pastor RDM. You can call in and leave your prayer requests and praise reports at 606-282-4108 or email those prayer requests and praise reports to cacdaily@cacphelps.org or cacdaily@cornerstoneapostolic.org. Let's now join Pastor McKinney as he takes us through another study in the Word.
Praise the Lord, everybody, and welcome to another CAC Daily iCast. Just a little bit of church every day, home Bible study, 21st century style. Hope you are having a great day and hope you had a great weekend. And once again, we sent out a text to those who are on our list and have joined our Signal app. Our Signal app is something that we had to start using a while back to notify people when we have a cancellation, rescheduling, technical difficulties, something happens, we can't get on the air. So if you want to, and you want to be in the know like people were Friday, I sent out a text. Everybody that's on the list knew. But if you were sitting there Friday wondering, why isn't the broadcast on? Well, all you got to do is get your phone and go to the App Store if you have an iPhone, or go to Google Play if you have an Android phone, and download the Signal app, Signal. And once you download that, set up your account. You have control over that. I don't see that. I don't have anything to do with that. And then you open up your camera on your phone and scan that little, right there, that little blue QR code. And once you scan that, then it will pop up a little yellow notice at the bottom of your screen, and you just click on that and it'll send me a notice you want to be part of those in the know. So I want you to be in the know. I don't want you sitting there when we call the broadcast off or have something come up that we can't get on the air. And I want you to know what's going on. So do that today, and you can do it during the live broadcast. You can go back and watch the recorded version and just scan it. You just hold your phone up to that little QR code right there with your camera, and it'll scan it. And then you can be part. But you have to download and set up your app first. If you scan it right now without the Signal app, it will scan it. And then when you click on it, it's not going to let me know anything because it is not set up. You don't have an account. And they only let people that have an account sign up and send me a notice. So with that said, I just wanted to kind of get you in the know on that. We're on study today, lesson number 1424 of our study through the Word, and we want to pick up where we left off Thursday, and we was looking in Exodus chapter 29, and I'm going to go ahead and go down to verse number 26 if you're following along. So we're going to go to Exodus chapter 29 and verse number 26. And it just begins to say this: "And thou shalt take the breast of the ram of Aaron's consecration and wave it for a wave offering before the Lord. It shall be thy part. And thou shalt sanctify the breast of the wave offering and the shoulder of the heave offering, which is waved and which is heaved up, of the ram of the consecration, even of that which is for Aaron, and of that which is for his sons. And it shall be Aaron's and his sons by a statute forever from the children of Israel. For it is a heave offering, and it shall be a heave offering from the children of Israel of the sacrifice of their peace offerings, even their heave offering unto the Lord." Now, I want to kind of stop right there, and I want us to go back to verse number 26, because we're seeing something that we see in worship today. We're seeing something that is a type and shadow to us today. We see that this breast of the ram, it was for Aaron. It's of Aaron's consecration, and they were to wave it for a wave offering. Wave it back and forth. They would take this breast and they would hold this breast of the ram of Aaron's consecration up, and they would wave it before the Lord. Have you ever seen anybody just begin to worship the Lord and they're just waving their hands back and forth? Maybe they're waving like this, or maybe they got their palms up and they're just doing this. That's a wave offering. That's the way the wave offering was given. And then we see that not only is this wave offering the shoulder of the heave offering, which is waved and which is heaved up. Basically, how you remember what these offerings are: a wave offering goes back and forth, waving it before the Lord. A heave offering goes up and down, up and down. You heave it up unto the Lord. You heave it up unto the Lord. So how many times have you seen somebody maybe worshiping and they're waving their hands back and forth, and then sometimes they just start raising their hands. They lift up their hands. That is just like this wave offering and heave offering. And they were to do this, which is going to be for Aaron and for his sons. And it shall be Aaron's and his sons by a statute forever from the children of Israel. So when I see this, I see that it is something that is to continue, because the priests were to eat of what was brought. Some was burnt with fire, and then some was set aside. Even though it was offered to the Lord first, it was set aside for the priest to live on. Now, we can get into a lot of things of types and shadows there, but the priest didn't work a public job or a secular job. They had a lot of work to do in the priesthood: offering the sacrifices, slaying the sacrifices, cutting up the sacrifices, putting them on the altar, and doing all that needed to be done so the sins of the people could be and not forgiven, because the blood of goats and calves and things like that couldn't forgive sins. It just pushed them ahead to another year, and they had to do it again. So they were kept busy, and they were not able to have a secular job. So you couldn't say a priest in the Bible, or Aaron's sons, or Aaron himself, to just put it in perspective. They did not go out and tend sheep. They didn't go out and work in the field. They didn't raise gardens. They didn't do stuff on the side. They depended solely upon the people's offerings to the Lord. And so, you have people today who have to work secular jobs. I worked a secular job all my life because, the church starting out, we couldn't afford a salary. We couldn't afford to, pay someone full time. But that's the way it's designed to be, is that you ministers and pastors should be able to focus on ministry. Because how many times have you, called on a minister to do something and they're at work, Well, if they had a full-time ministry job, then they would be available during that time, but they're at work. So nothing wrong with a working pastor, but I'm just saying, if your church can afford to give a pastor a salary that he does not have to work, do that, because that is Bible. But a lot of people, they say, "Oh no, I ain't gonna I ain't gonna pay that preacher to preach. He can go out and get a job like everybody else, like me and everybody else. No, the Bible gives us the opportunity to see how ministry is to be taken care of, how the church is to be taken care of. God had a plan for everything. He had a plan for the ministry, how they could be taken care of. He also had a plan for the church, how the church was to be taken care of. Paul, sometimes he would be a tent maker. He would work. Why did he work? Not because he wanted to earn extra money to go on vacation. He worked because he was in an area where the church was too poor to pay him or to sustain him. And so that's what I always look at, is when we first started, we couldn't afford to pay a pastor full time. Now, if I had decided I'm going to quit my job and the church support me full time, I think that the church would have struggled in its early infancy, beginning, because I think it's important that we are generous. And I don't want to be stingy. I don't want to be greedy. In fact, the Bible teaches us that we are not to be, greedy of filthy lucre, which is money. And so if a pastor's all about the dollar, and every time you hear him talk, he's talking about money, and he's talking about, getting more money and figuring out a side job so he can get more money and all this, then, that's the wrong focus to have. Nothing wrong, again, with a pastor working a job if he has to. Paul worked a job when he had to. He didn't work full time. He didn't retire as a tent maker. He didn't spend his entire career as a tent maker, but he worked when he had to. That's where, too, a lot of preachers need to understand. You need to work. You need to show that you're willing to work. You're not afraid of work. You're going to work. You're going to be an example of the believers, because after all, you go all the way back to Genesis and you find, if a man doesn't work, then he's not following God's plan, because we are to work. We're not to be lazy. We're not to be people that's always got our hand out. He wants his people to be respected, and that way we can win others. How many times, and you've probably heard somebody say this, but how many times have you heard somebody say, well, all that preacher's worried about is another dollar? That's a sad saying, isn't it? That's a sad saying. Sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not true. But we have to understand God's plan was for ministry to be taken care of full time, and the church through tithes and offerings would be sustained, and that everything would work smoothly so we could go out and reach the lost and the hurting and the backslider and do the work of the Lord. So I think it's interesting when we read this, just this one verse right here. And it shall be Aaron's and his sons by a statute, not just during, Aaron's day, forever from the children of Israel. For it is a heave offering, and it shall be a heave offering from the children of Israel of the sacrifice of their peace offerings, even their heave offering unto the Lord. Once again, a wave offering is waved before the Lord. They take actually the meat, hold it in their hands, and wave it before the Lord. And then the heave offering, they take the meat and they heave it up before the Lord. So that is what we're talking about. It's self-explanatory, right? Talking about a wave offering, you wave it. Heave offering, you heave it up. And then it says, and the holy garments of Aaron shall be his sons after him, and to be anointed therein, and to be consecrated in them, so that the son that is priest in his stead shall put them on 7 days when he cometh into the tabernacle of the congregation to minister in the holy place. So when we see this particular, priestly garments, we see that it wasn't just for Aaron, but it was also for Aaron's sons. Whoever took over the priesthood after Aaron would wear these special garments that were made. And that's important because the Lord wants us to know that we have got to follow the same pattern of being meticulous in what we wear. It's not just for the generation of Aaron, it's not just for the generation of his sons, but it's to go on down the line. And that's why when you hear things like Paul says in the New Testament, how that we are to dress modest, there's the reason. We're to pass that on to our children and to our children's children, which is your grandchildren. And we need to always understand there's a reason why the high priest had to dress a certain way. The priests had to dress a certain way. God's people were always modest. And, the only time they became immodest is when they didn't know where Moses was, if Moses was alive, and they coaxed Aaron into, sculpting out this golden calf. And they began to worship in indecency. They were indecent. They were immoral. They were just having them a big fleshly party. And I'm talking everything that the flesh desired, they was doing it. Because why? They saw all of this in Egypt. They saw the wild parties in Egypt. They saw how people acted. And when man is left to himself and doesn't have a voice of decency in your life or a voice of morality in your life, you start doing things that acts just like the world. A pastor that quits preaching against worldliness will soon find worldliness in the church. A pastor that doesn't care if he preaches about modesty will soon find all sorts of immodest things going on in the church. So the priest, the son that is the priest in his stead, shall put them on the priestly garments 7 days, and when he cometh into the tabernacle of the congregation to minister in the holy place. And thou shalt take the ram of the consecration and seethe his flesh in the holy place. And Aaron and his sons shall eat the flesh of the ram and the bread that is in the basket by the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And they shall eat those things wherewith the atonement was made, to consecrate and to sanctify them. But a stranger shall not eat thereof, because they are holy. You see, certain things were holy. And that's one of the things that when you read about in the Old Testament, this king decided he wanted to take the things of the temple and the vessels, and he drank wine out of them, and they were partying, and they were using the vessels of the house of God in their parties because they was making a mockery of it. That we find that there's a handwriting on the wall, if you will. So we find that we have to make sure that we don't let strangers, come and partake of the holy things. That's why, let me just throw this in here, and then we'll come to a close. That's why I protect the platform. We want everybody to come to church. We want the sinner to come to church. We want the saint to come to church. We want the backslider to come to church. But if you're going to work on the platform, I think the platform is a holy place. I think it is a place that if you're not living holy, you shouldn't you shouldn't be allowed, I should say, to work on the platform. If you're living in the world and doing worldly things, and you haven't changed, and you want to get up and sing and praise and worship on music on the platform, now again, you can sing all you want to in the congregation, you can praise all you want to in the congregation, but if you want to be a part of the holy place, what I call the holy place is the platform, then you have to set aside the world. And that's what this is talking about. Don't let a stranger come and partake of these things. They can't eat the bread. They can't eat the sacrifice. Why? Because they are holy. There's always been a separation between holy and unholy, good and evil, right and wrong. Very simple. Always been, always will be. But as we see the approaching of the coming of the Lord, the Bible teaches us that line is going to start being blurred and erased, that you don't know what's right, you don't know what's wrong. You don't know what's holy and what's unholy, what is modest or immodest. And that's the day we're living in. The Bible still tells us what is right. The Bible still tells us what is holy. The Bible still tells us what is modest and moral. And it also tells us the other side. So read your Bible. It is a fascinating book. And in verse 34 it says, "And if aught of the flesh of the congregation or of the bread remain unto the morning, then thou shalt burn the remainder of it with fire. The remainder with fire. It shall not be eaten, because it is holy." So it's not like, oh, we got some leftovers, let's give it to the people. No, it was holy to the Lord. And if the priest and his sons couldn't eat it, well, then they were to burn the remainder of it with fire. Nobody could eat it, because it is holy. "And thus shalt thou do unto Aaron and to his sons according to all the things that I have commanded thee. 7 days shalt thou consecrate them. And thou shalt offer every day a bullock for a sin offering for atonement. And thou shalt cleanse the altar when thou hast made an atonement for it. And thou shalt anoint it to sanctify it." So they were to cleanse all this, because you got to remember, there's a lot of blood. There's a lot of you got to clean your grill that you grill out on, right? Or your barbecue grill and all that. Yeah, you got to clean that up. Well, they had to clean up the altar. So there's a lot of work that was going on just to keep everything clean and ready for the next sacrifice. 7 days. God's perfect number is 7. 6 days he created and done everything, and then on the 7th he rested. So 7 days thou shalt make an atonement for the altar and sanctify it, and it shall be an altar most holy. Whatsoever toucheth the altar shall be holy. I want to stop right there, because I want to take that, and I want to pick up on that tomorrow. So we'll start on verse 37 tomorrow, and because I want to talk about the altar. How important it is to come to an altar. Yes, even in our day, find an altar in the church. It can be up front, it can be at the seat, it can be on your knees. Find an altar. It's a holy place. And you'll start feeling the need to let go of some things that you're holding on to. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. I hope that you have enjoyed the teaching session, and I want to jump right in to letting you know that we got to get out of here and get some stuff done today. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, going to be a hot one, so make sure you hydrate and stay in the shade or in the air-conditioned room. And we do have our trivia question up. We want to throw it at you one more time. Which book spends all of its chapters prophesying against Nineveh? Well, we'll have the results on tomorrow's broadcast. Everybody have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your day, because we are out of here.
On behalf of Pastor McKinney and the congregation of Cornerstone Apostolic Church, we would like to invite you and your family to come and visit with us. We feel that you will enjoy the Spirit-filled atmosphere as we worship the Lord together in spirit and in truth. We have Sunday school classes for all ages, Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. and 11 a.m., and Wednesday evening service at 7 p.m. The adults meet in the main sanctuary, while the youth meet in the CAC Youth Sanctuary. You can also catch our services live by going to cornerstoneapostolic.org and click on the live webcast link during our regular and special scheduled services. If you missed a service, you can still watch that service in its entirety by going to cornerstoneapostolic.org and click on the video archives link. Come on out to Cornerstone Apostolic Church and experience the power of Pentecost. We hope to see you in future services.